Okay, I see it now. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm gonna send you a request, Ms. Blackwood, just so I can share my screen.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, thank you guys for joining us. Let me go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. Welcome to Perkerson Elementary's GOTEAM meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been emailed to you and publicly noticed. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the GOTEAM. Only members of the team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. For members of the GOTEAM, please identify yourself when you speak. I am pleased to call this meeting of the Perkerson Elementary GOTEAM to order at 4:18. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now call roll.
Okay. Good afternoon. Ms. Blackwell.
Present.
Oh, sorry. Please respond present if you are present. Ms. Blackwell is present. Ms. Tomlin. Not present. Ms. Mohammed. Not present. Mr. Garrett.
Present.
Ms. Holmes. Not present. Mr. Harris.
Miss Muhammad just jumped on as well.
Yes, y'all, I'm so sorry. The girls had me over here playing Johnny Got Five Apples. I'm so sorry.
Love it, Mom. Welcome.
All right. Well, Ms. Mohammed is now present, so I will change that. Mr. Harris is not present. Ms. Walker.
Present.
Present. Mr. Poole.
Present.
Mr. Tuberkia.
Present.
And Ms. Drew, I am also present. That is the roll.
This team will only be able to take official action if a quorum is present. Ms. Drew, is there a quorum present?
We do have a quorum.
Okay. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you and copies are here. Are there any changes to the agenda? May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Approve.
A second?
A second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. It has been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? We will proceed with the motion. We will review and approve the meetings from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you. Are there any corrections? If there are no further corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
I motion to approve.
A second?
A second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. It has been moved and seconded that we approve the meeting minutes from the last meeting. Is there any discussion? We will proceed with the motion. We will now move to the discussion items on our agenda. The first discussion item is on continuing the 2025 to 2030 school strategic plan and development process. So just to review, the purpose of this is to take the strategic plan and break it down to the school level while making sure that we're moving within the school's continuous improvement plan. This is going to align everything and give us a lot more clarity in our plans moving forward. The 2030 strategic goals and objectives should be updated, approved, and ranked by January 2026. Schools will focus on the strategies as part of the FY27 budget and continuous improvement plan processes. Just to review, we are getting back to being a community of believers, getting back to the basics. So we have our main ideas here, our strength being our team, sharing responsibility and making sure everything is efficient and effective. And we have some points under that. We're working to strengthen our instructional core, care for every student, and making sure that we're keeping our students engaged and curious in the learning. Again, we've taken a look at this graphic here for a few meetings now, so I'll move past that. And just to give us a focus on what we're doing here is our Go team. We have our mission and vision that's giving us our purpose and what we do. We have our strategic goals, the results that we want to satisfy our stakeholders' needs. We have our focus areas where we're really trying to hone in on the work we want to do, and our objectives, the continuous improvement activities that we want to yield results. So this is reviewing the process. In our first meeting, we reviewed the data, our MAP, GMAS, graduation rate, and CCRPI. In our second meeting before this, we reviewed our data, we aligned our mission, vision, purpose, and then we confirmed our 2030 goals. Where we're at today is business meeting number 3, where we're identifying the 2025 to 2030 strategic objectives. Looking forward, in our next meeting, we'll be dealing with budget allocation. So just going over again what we did before, reviewing our data, aligning our mission, and confirming our goals. And just to review, there were no proposed changes to the school mission and vision based on our discussion during our previous meeting. To review, our mission is with a focus on STEAM. Students will investigate thoroughly, think logically, and use creativity to develop leadership skills. Our vision is to creating a challenging learning environment where we achieve excellence, think critically, and solve problems. And in this section here, I'm going to pass over to Ms. Blackwell to go over the goals for the 2025 to 2030 strategic plan.
Okay, so I want to first of all apologize to the team for having to reschedule our previous meeting. That meeting was rescheduled because of the strategic plan was a plan that should have been developed over a 2-year period. However, we did not have one. So what I did previously was I took the CSIP and I created the strategic plan from the CSIP, but the strategic plan is not supposed to be a reflection of the current year, but was supposed to be a reflection of work that this team has done over the past 2 years. And because that work had not been done, I needed to take the Thanksgiving break to be very intentional about what our objectives could be based on the data in which we have. So although previously we've talked about these goals, we did not, number one, put quantitative data to the goals. It said to be determined. Well, now that we have determined that every year we need to make a 5-year jump, I've added 5 points, really 5 to 20 points to each baseline goal to give us a 5.5% increase each year. So the goals for 2025 to 2030 are as follows. By 2030, Perkinson Elementary School will increase the percentage of students performing at proficiency and above in math from 20.5 to 45.5 for all students. That's why that number is high, because remember, it's over a 5-year span. And from 0 to 25% for students with disabilities as measured by the Georgia Milestones Assessment. By 2030, Perkinson Elementary School will increase the percentage of students performing at proficient and above in ELA from 16.8% to at least 41.8% for all students, and from 5.6% to at least 30.6% for students with disabilities as measured by the Georgia Milestones. And by 2030, Perkinson Elementary will increase the percentage of students who are not chronically absent from 62.3% to 77.3%. I know we as a team discussed creating a SEL goal. And so the SEL goal that was created had to support the KPI, which all of you all have a copy of. That is that KPI summary for Perkerson Elementary School, where it gives us our focus area, the category, the current KPI, the 2030 goal change, as well as the percentages for those goals. That is the document that I utilized to create the fourth SEL goal, which is by 2030, Perkerson Elementary School will increase the school climate star rating from 2 to 4. And so, as Mr. Taberky has said, we've already reviewed the data. We've already looked at the school KPIs. We've aligned the mission, vision, and purpose, and we have confirmed our 2030 goals. Or we really haven't confirmed them, but can we confirm them now? Does everyone agree with the 2030 goals that I have established based on the KPIs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
And so from those goals in the data, I have identified the 2025-2030 strategic objectives. And we can move to the next slide, Mr. Taberkia. So as we reflect on the 2025 strategic plan, we need to discuss what we're going to stop and continue. We need to align the objectives to the district's new focus areas, which I have done a lot of that work and you all can tell me how we need to adjust it based on your feedback, and then review and discuss additional objectives going forward that we need to start implementation of. And so what we're going to be focusing are on the 3 core objectives, or the framework, which is we are strengthening our instructional core, we are caring for every child, and we are sparking student curiosity. And so what does that mean for us? How are we strengthening our instructional core, which is our strength, is our team? How are we caring for our child, which is our responsibility is shared? How we're sparking student curiosity, our school is efficient and effective. The black is the what, the red is the how we're going to do it. Does that make sense? So the black is the what we're going to do, and the red is the how, or the action steps we're going to take in order to make that happen. Can you go back one more, Mr. Taberkia? I'm sorry. So using our new 2025-2030 strategic goals as a guide, we're going to complete the start, stop, and continue exercise to review our current strategic priorities and identify our 2025-2030 strategic objectives. I'm ready. Thank you. So that is what this document is. As you can see, it looks a little different from the previous one, because the previous one is where I took the CSIP and created the strategic plan, but that was not what was supposed to happen. Remember, this plan was supposed to be a plan that was developed over a 2-year period. So what I had to do was take the current data as well as where we are, the KPIs, and create the strategic priorities myself, as well as the school strategies. So this is truly a working session because I created this document by myself when we should have created it as a team over a 2-year span. So your input is going to be very valuable today so that we can make sure that this is a team effort and that we can make as many corrections as a team or additions, so that it is a reflection of not what Ms. Blackwell thinks should happen, but what we as a team believe should be occurring. And so as we look at it for our schools, I'm sorry, Mr. Taberkia, can you go back for a second? So as we look at it, our school strategic priorities based on the goals have changed slightly. We have for fostering academic excellence for all students. We have implementation of high quality, relevant, and engaging instructional materials, target resources towards subgroups. For building a culture of student support, the whole child, we have expand strategies that reduce chronic absenteeism and supports restorative practices and tenets of PBIS, implement systematic systematic culture and climate strategies. For equipping and empowering leaders and staff, we have increased concentration of highly effective teachers and leaders and prioritizing engagement and retention for staff. And then for creating a system of school support, we have building meaningful partnerships and increasing access and engagement for families and communities. That is the what we want to do, our school strategic priorities. The school strategies note how we want to go about doing them. And I'll give you a minute to look at those.
So I'm just trying to make sure I got this because I don't know if my eyes going cross. This plan is to more so help with the kids on utilizing the SEL learning programs.
So that's one component of the plan. If you look to the left, Ms. Muhammad, where it says the APS strategic priorities and initiatives, those are the district strategic priorities and initiatives. And what we were charged to do as a GO team 2 years ago was to come up with strategic priorities as a school that support the APS strategic priorities and initiatives, and each of the 4 components. However, we did not do that as a GO team. So I had to go in and create the school strategic priorities, as well as strategies that I felt would be beneficial to support those strategic priorities. So the school strategic priorities is the what and how we're going to achieve what we put in the school strategic priorities will be through the school strategies. Does that make sense? So for example, if we're saying we're going to implement high quality, relevant, and engaging instructional activities and target resources towards subgroups, then we need to establish robust professional learning communities where teachers collaboratively define learning standards, assess, provide interventions, and offer enrichment. Does that make sense? So it goes across. When we talk about building a culture of student support, we're saying that what does that look like? What is the strategic priority? We know we need to expand strategies that reduce chronic absenteeism and support restorative practices and tenets of PBIS. Well, how do we do that? We're going to establish a system where students and or families earn points or rewards for excellent attendance daily, weekly, and monthly. We're going to consistently utilize the Class Dojo token economy for immediate visible reinforcement of positive student behaviors. Does that make sense? So we had to take APS's strategic priorities and initiatives, and over a 2-year period, we were supposed to sit and create these school strategic priorities based on how we're doing as a school and how we grow over the last 2 years. And then we were supposed to just be refining them this year. However, we are kind of sort of like going up that escalator backwards. Trying to go up the escalator when it's coming down. As I explained it, we are actually building the plane as we're flying it.
Right. That's exactly what we're doing. Yes, you're absolutely right. Okay, well, you better explain it a little bit more than what I was just kind of skimming through. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Are there any questions about this? Okay. So now you're fine, Mr. Tabarka. We can go on. Are there any questions about that? Okay, so now at this point, we are going to decide what we need to stop. Because I will say that we are doing a lot of these things already. So we need to decide what we're going to stop, what current priorities and activities are not having the needed impact and should be stopped. Are there any priorities, activities that are no longer aligned with our mission, vision, goals, or focus areas? Do you understand why this is a process that should have taken place over an extended period of time? Because we should have been collecting data as to whether these processes or strategic priorities actually are effective. And we are collecting data currently because we're doing some of these things now, but it's data that should have been collected over a 2-year span, so that we could make more informed decisions. But what is beneficial for us right now is that we have different stakeholders who have a voice in this, so that will make a difference. So when we think about what has been working this current school year, because that's all we have. And so we would have to rely on the teachers as well as parents, how you feel it's working when you at home, for the parent and family engagement piece. And when you see your kids coming home, if you see a difference in their academic acquisition. But we need to look at the school strategic priorities and decide what needs to stop and what we need to continue. So when we look at implementing high quality, relevant, and engaging instructional materials, do we feel like that's something that we need to stop or continue?
I think continue.
I was about to say, yeah, we don't want to stop engaging in high quality and relevant materials.
What about targeting resources towards subgroups? We have 4 subgroups.
I was just about to ask you, can you kind of explain that to me? Because when it comes down to the target resources, what resources and who are we supposed to be targeting at this point?
So we have 4 subgroups here at Perkerson. The first subgroup are Black students. That's one subgroup. The first subgroup is all students. The second subgroup are Black students. The third sub are African American students. The third subgroup are special education students. And the fourth subgroup are economically disadvantaged students. So those are the 4 subgroups that we have here at Perkerson. So when we think about targeted resource towards those subgroups, we know that certain subgroups require certain strategies or interventions in order for them to be successful. Although we are targeting those resources for subgroups, those resources benefit all children. So for example, we're doing 22 leverage practices, which specifically target the special education population, but it is impactful for all students. So that one would impact all subgroups. Does that make sense? But it's just making sure that you create, or that you know your subgroups, and that you create targeted resources or supports that's going to help that subgroup make academic, behavioral, and social emotional gains. Does that make sense? Because a child with special needs may need something different than a general education student. A child in poverty is going to need different resources than a child that's not in poverty. So you want to just make sure that you're targeting resources towards all subgroups.
I guess my question would be, what is the current instructional material that's being utilized, and how is the effectiveness of that material being gauged right now?
Okay, so what we're utilizing as for all students, which is a subgroup, are our tier 1 resources. For math, we're utilizing the Georgia DOE learning plans, as well as number talks, as well as small group instruction, but that's centered towards all. Within
How's that
that, we
working?
have
How's that working?
teachers.
The DOE learning plans, how
Ms. Walker, how's that
effective are
work?
they?
Ms. Walker, how effective are they? You're in the classroom, and you can talk about the student data as well as what you're seeing. Triangulate the data from Mr. Poole and kind of talk a little bit about what you're seeing with the implementation of those learning plans and number talks.
Okay, so this school year we are utilizing the Georgia Department of Education learning plans for our math curriculum, and this particular instructional material allows us to really help the students to expand and extend their learning when it comes down to the math. Typically with the math, we have been doing just basic like algorithms, but with the learning plan, students are provided like real world experiences. So the math that they're learning, like currently we're working on rounding. So and typically you would just give students number to round, but in this case now they're looking at different scenarios when you really would need rounding, and then they're utilizing rounding, and at the same time they're building a vocabulary, understanding that rounding and estimating approximately, all of those terms, they mean the same thing. So with the Georgia DOE learning plans, they are also research based, and so it shows that these plans have been utilized before and there have already been success. So even though we're a little bit behind with developing this plan, the material and the things that we're using have already shown success in other environments. And so basically we're just kind of getting on the right page with the curriculum. But we do also have other resources to support that in terms of our service, and then we use different technology programs and apps so that students can have access to develop those skills where they are lacking. Now, what was your other question?
And
Well,
I can piggyback on that for as far as other targeted resources for subgroups. For example, we use Lexia for our special education population. It is a research-based interventionist program that we use. Satu?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to raise. I didn't mean for you to stop right then and there. I was going to ask my question afterwards, but I kind of wanted to talk about. I wanted to ask a question about capacity. Like it seems like we have to choose between but like we can't continue to do everything, and that suggests that there is a capacity or a limitation, or is it can we just continue to do
We can
everything?
continue to do everything.
Oh, we can. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And in fact, we're going to actually be able to add when we go further along. If we as a team, as we're having these discussions, and we say, hey, that sounds good, but I think that we may want to do ABCD for building culture and student support, then we can add an objective as well.
Okay. Yeah, because all of these sound good, and I was going in my mind of, okay, let's choose the one that we have to get away from. But if we can
We
do
can keep
all of
them
them,
all.
okay, that makes sense.
Reverend Poole, did that answer your question?
um, I mean, I think that really, for me personally, I'm just going to have to rely on you all's expertise, and how familiar you are with the program and how effective you think it is, and I'm 100% okay with that. Um, and I just want to be upfront about it. I don't want to pretend like I know what's going on with this, and I don't. But
Right.
it sounds good.
Mm.
One thing for sure though, people like to buy the latest telephone because it got all the bells and whistles. But the sad part is they don't know how to use half the stuff.
Yeah. Right.
So as long as we got something that we know how to use and it's effective, it's actually improving what it's supposed to do and it's measurable, and you all vouch for it, then I stand with you on whatever it is.
And I will say, thank you so much, Reverend Pooh. And I will say, and the teachers will tell you, I'm very data and research driven in my decision making.
Hmm.
Um, Before I even bring something to the staff, I have researched it and I have looked at the data and the success behind it before I even bring it to the table. For example, when we get to the CCRPI results, one of the things that we're doing is we're making sure that we are checking Lexile. Readiness is important, and knowing that the kids are reading within the Lexile band is important. Well, how do you monitor that? Our kids are getting a benchmark assessment every 2 months to make sure that their Lexiles are growing and that they are growing into those Lexile bands. We look at data often. We looked at the writing data and it was not good. So we took a day of professional learning. The third, fourth, and fifth grade teachers took a day of professional learning to reset to see what we needed to do to increase our writing scores and give kids access to writing every day. Kids need to be writing every single day, because we find that our readiness scores are high, but when it comes to them actually taking the assessment, they struggle because they cannot write. So writing has become a high focus level for us, and we're making sure that they're writing across the content. They're writing in math, or when they're speaking in math. Today, when I went into Miss Walker's room to do an observation, and a student tried to give her a response in an incomplete sentence, she made them go back and say the sentence correctly. So it's just making sure that we are modeling and that writing and speaking and language is happening, or because we know oral language is important for kids to retain information. The one that's doing most of the talking is the one that's doing most of the learning. So we know how important oral language is. That being said, we are making sure writing is happening across the curriculum, and that those ELA competencies are happening across the curriculum. So, yes, everything that we do, we're going to make sure that it's vetted in the research and practices. And also, Mr. Poole, to get to your point, we're going back to the basics with a lot of things. We are truly following the districts back to the basics when it comes to trying to make sure that our kids have the prerequisites they need in order to be successful. Regardless of what happens to Perkins, our kids will be ready to conquer the world wherever they go.
It sound what you just said, and the way you said it, that makes me feel very comfortable. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
And that's and for me, that's the main thing. Whatever we're doing, just make sure that we're monitoring it and it is actually working. If it's not,
Absolutely.
then we rely on you all. You're the experts. You say we need to get rid of it, we get rid of it. That's how I look at it. If we want to keep it, if you want to keep it, and you're sold by it, I'm sold by it.
Thank you, Reverend Poole. So let's just go through each one of them real quick. And if we're saying that we want to, does anyone see one that they think we should not keep? We can start there. Okay. So we're ready to move on to the next slide, Mr. Tabarkia. So we're saying that we want to continue all of our priorities and activities, and continue to collect data, monitor, and make adjustments as needed. And any adjustments that we make, we have to bring to this team, the GOTEAM, so you all will be aware if we look at data and say, hey, this is not working, we need to make an adjustment. We'll bring it to the GOTEAM.
Amen.
So, Ms. Blackwell, I do have one question. I don't see literacy on there, like anything directly jumping out on about literacy. Is am I missing it, or one of these other things kind of intertwined in that?
Yes, all of the high quality, relevant, engaging instructional materials will happen across. So this is more of the broadness of it. When we
Okay.
look at, go back to the strategies for me, Taberkia, go back a couple of slides. When we get to the school strategies, we can do, like, for example, number 3 under fostering academic excellence for all students. You see incorporate school-wide writing block for all teachers at all grade levels. We can, if we feel as though we need to add more meat to the school strategies, then we definitely can do that.
Okay.
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I understood it. It's more lower level than the high level, just literacy is getting
Right.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that when you want to drill down on the academic piece, that's more so in our continuous improvement plan. That was the plan that I was functioning, which we still function for. Everything that we do is based on that continuous improvement plan, which has a literacy goal. These same goals, by 2030, Perkinson Elementary School will increase the percentage of students monitoring, performing at proficiency and above in math, and the same thing with ELA. And then we have those action steps, and I'll send that to you all again so that you all can see reference what I'm talking about. You'll see that we are very intentional in that plan and outlining what that looks like for literacy, what that looks like for math, and what that looks like for climate and culture. And remember, we didn't just do it for all students, we also targeted that special ed subgroup in the continuous improvement plan. So it's these plans kind of they go hand in hand. But it's we do have a literacy focus, and it is based or centered around that continuous improvement plan. Does that make sense, Mr. Garrett?
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
That's more of a year-to-year plan. That continuous improvement plan. You make adjustments every year based on the data. You make goals and based on that data from that continuous improvement plan in specific content areas, specifically reading, math, and climate and culture.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we said that we're going to continue everything, so we can go to the next one, Mr. Tabarkia. Okay, and so I have taken and you all can tell me if we want to make some changes, but I tried to do as much of the work on the front end as I could. I took the objectives as well as the school strategies, and I've already put them in the document to support the objectives, to support the getting back up to align with the core values. So we are strengthening our instructional core. I put implementing high quality, relevant, and engaging instructional materials, target resource towards subgroups. We're caring for every child, expand strategies that reduce. So you can see where I took each one of the strategic priorities and I put them under getting back to the basics. And then remember, the black is the what, the red is the how. So do we need to add any other objective based on that KPI? So you all remember you got a copy of the KPI. I can't show it because I have a filter on my background. The KPI was the one, Satu, you have it because we got it that Saturday when we went to the GOTEAM, but we also, thank you, we also emailed it out to the team last time we were supposed to meet for you to review. That KPI is what I utilize to make the objectives and the goals that we have. For example, if you look down at
You want me to go back to the presentation, Ms. Blackwell? I've got the
you're
KPI
fine.
up right now.
Will you
Okay.
see school climate? You see right here where it says school climate? Under we are caring for every child.
Mm-hmm.
School climate star rating out of 5, we have a 2. That was where I received that SEL goal, because everything that we do for this strategic plan has to come or based on data from the KPI. So if you look at this KPI, do you see any other area that we need to create an objective around? That we already don't have in place? Okay. If you take, if you ever decide to come back and revisit it at your leisure and you see an objective that you feel would be beneficial, just email me so that I can add it and we can discuss it at the next GOTEAM meeting.
So, Ms. Blackwell, real quick, I'm sorry. I see this one here that's just interesting to me. The excuse me, percentage of students choosing very safe or extremely safe to location questions. It's 53%, which seems kind of that seems low to me, but
It's
it's
extremely low.
yeah.
It's
When I
it,
think about
it's low.
yeah, when I think about kids feeling safe in the environment, that kind of correlates to the school culture, in my opinion, or like,
Hmm.
am I off with that? But
No,
I would
you're
like
not.
to. I would like to. I mean, that seems like something that would be important. That stands out to me. Here is that kids should feel safe, and I think that goes directly, that correlates to the climate rating. That was, and the climate rating was a student indicator, right? The climate rating of
Well, it's
2 over
it's
4.
student, it's the combination of student, faculty, and parent. So that parent, those parent surveys that you all receive and we ask you to
Hmm.
complete, the student surveys as well as the staff surveys. So what we have done, um, to help with that, we gave the students a mock survey with the same questions, just to see where we are at this point. And then we utilized the data, and Mr. Brody and Miss Ashford, the parent liaison, went to each class of fourth and, because the fourth and fifth grade students are the ones that take the test, but we also gave it to third graders, since they will be taking it next year, just to make sure that they had an understanding of what the questions mean, or just,
Hmm.
as a pretest to see where we are. Then after we did that, Mr. Brody went into the fourth and fifth grade classes to ask them the why behind why they selected or why it looked like that, and just make sure they understood what the questions mean.
Mm.
So we are doing some work around making sure, number one, that the kids understand what they're being asked when they fill out that survey. And then if they still feel the way they feel, then why? And then what we need to do to make them feel a different way about school or about why they answered the question the way they did. Does that make sense?
Yes,
So we've
that
already done work around that. In fact, we did it in November.
okay.
November. And the kids just took the survey again at the end of November. But at the beginning of November, we did a mock survey to see where the kids were and how they were feeling. And then we addressed those things and had conversations around what we needed to do to make them feel safer. And we've already done a lot of things that they've asked us to do.
Okay, that sounds amazing. That sounds really good, because I mean, um, as a person who, when I went to school, I feel like I fit under a couple of those subgroups. Well, I definitely fit under a couple of those subgroups. I think that children's outlook, that especially, and I want to choose my words carefully, especially the demographic that comes from those subgroups, it's important that we give them institutional safety,
That's right.
because those schools are the first introduction to an institution, period.
That's
And when
flying to
they,
prison.
yeah, and when they don't feel safe in those institutions, then societal institutions, if you don't feel safe, if you can't feel safe at home because of whatever socioeconomic reasons, and you also don't feel safe at school, then there starts to be behavioral changes, and then you start to say, you know what, I'm going to become something that that can feel safe. I have to do things and be there. So I
Absolutely.
commend you guys on that work. So okay, great.
And we constantly talk to the staff about the population of children and that we serve, and the trauma that they bring to these doors, and how we have to be a safe haven for them, how we have to feed them. I mean, we've given children baths, and washed their clothes,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I
Well, salute
believe
to
that
y'all.
as well.
Salute to y'all, and thank you for the work.
Thank you so much for the support.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have already done the pre-work of aligning the objectives to the appropriate focus areas. And we all agree that it's okay. Does everyone agree with that?
Yes, I definitely agree. I just been sitting here trying to soak everything in, so that's why I ain't spoke much. But thank you
Explain
so
that.
much for explaining everything to a T.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Muhammad.
One thing I'm noticing, on the last slide, on slide 20, and I think this will be something that we, edit when we fix everything, make it official. But under getting back to the basics, this is we're sparking student curiosity.
Can you go back to that, Mr. Tabarkia, so we can see it, what was going on with Miss Drew as she's
Where yep, 20. There we go. Where it says we are sparking student curiosity on the getting back to basics. And then community of believers, it says our school is efficient and effective. The 2 bullet points on both of those are the same thing.
Yeah, I'll correct it. I'll correct that.
Cool. I noticed like on the
Mhm. You're right.
KPI page.
I need
And
to put the I didn't I instead of me I need to copy the school strategies there.
well, I was also going to say on the KPI sheet under sparking student curiosity, it mentioned the part about beyond the core and the importance of that. And our score is very high on that, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that this would be a goal necessarily, but I definitely support continuing sustaining that level of, achievement there because it does affect our CCRPI score as
So you
well.
mean where it says we are sparking student curiosity, we need to add an objective around
Just
beyond the core?
maintaining our beyond the core, I guess high rating, something like that. I don't know. There's just a suggestion. Is that it is something we are succeeding in, if I
And we
remember
want
correctly on the KPI
we are.
sheet. And I think it's important, especially to keep going in a positive direction for the CCRPI score, that we maintain that.
And we
But
want to
that's
put
just
that under we are sparking student curiosity.
that would be my suggestion.
Okay. And we will do it. Does anyone else have a suggestion that they feel we need to add?
Do we have anywhere that we are highlighting the work that we're doing with the use of technology within our plan? And if not, can we add that because we are actively
So let's
incorporating
go
technology?
back to the plan so we can know what we're going to, so because we need to type, okay. So where will we put, let's see, technology, guys, where will we put that?
That might go well in addition to sparking student curiosity
Okay.
or strengthening instructional core.
I
Which
agree
one?
on
If
strengthening the
possible,
core.
I kind of feel like the striking of I feel both, but it strikes the interest because number one, the kids that we are teaching or that are learning in this day are, I guess you could say, iPad kids or technology kids. So
Mm-hmm.
to me, when it come down to the striking of the interest, um, it strikes the interest more because a lot of kids don't have technology at home. Just because my kids have phones, your child might not have a phone. So it's going to strike more of to me, the curiosity because now I'm curious about how something works. Now I have the technology to look it up to tell me how this stuff works. So I'm going to go with the one at the top, which is the curiosity.
Okay. So team, what are we gonna say? I say we go with we are sparking it, put it under we're sparking curiosity. Is that okay with the team?
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Put something about technology, objective. Okay. Anything else?
Being a technology person, I just recently had this conversation with somebody about technology, and I just want to add this tidbit that I think that technology, the pure definition of technology is beyond electronics. You know, technology is the ability to utilize tools to solve problems, and I think that should be something that we you know that should be emphasized, that technology doesn't just sit in a on a tablet or on a phone or some sort of electronic device. You can
Right.
create technology through technology is the use of tools to perform or solve a problem.
So I'm glad you said that, so too. So with that being said, because of the STEM, doesn't this, I guess you can kind of say the STEM kind of falls under that, because it's not just showing them how to use the ability of others during technology on a tablet, it's showing them how to use the strategies that they may have learned from somewhere to build something.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So do we want to put something on here about and I would like to do STEAM instead of STEM so that we
Okay,
incorporate that art piece if that's okay
right.
with the team.
I'm
Yeah, I
with
agree.
that.
I'm for
I
that.
just look at it how he looked at it as well. That's why
No,
I
you're
asked you.
absolutely correct, Miss Muhammad. You're absolutely correct. I just want I would like, because I'm coming from an arts, I love art, the arts. I would love to see that science and art come together
Yeah,
as a marriage. So we
I
need to
agree.
add, so I'm thinking we put that under we are sparking a STEAM objective under we are sparking student curiosity as well.
I like that.
I second that.
I agree.
Okay. All righty. Anything else, guys? Awesome. So we just talked about new objectives that we were going to add. That's what this is. Are there any new objectives? And we just added three. The first objective that we added was maintaining beyond the core, coming up with an objective for beyond the core. Y'all give me a minute, unless someone has one off the top of their head. I need to reflect on what that could look like. Um, and then the second one was a technology objective. And then the third one was a STEAM objective. Is that correct?
I think STEAM and technology can be combined.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Okay. Got it. Yes, sir. All right. Are there does anyone else have an objective that they think would be beneficial? Okay.
I think on this call, I mean, I can probably think of some for the next call, but on this call, I think 3 is pretty good.
I agree. You are I agree,
Yeah.
because you don't when you put too much on the plan, you want to make sure that you're intentional and that it's something that you can actually
That we can
implement and not
achieve,
just
right?
putting stuff. So yeah, I agree. So I think that we can agree that the three that we have added are sufficient. So at our next meeting, we're going to vote on the 2025 2030 strategic plan, rank our 2025 strategic objectives, begin the discussion of the 2026-2027 budget, and you can let me or the chair know of any additional information you need for our future discussion. Are there any questions at this time? Okay.
We will now move on to information items. First is the principal's report.
Awesome. So today I'm here to share the CCRPI summary data with you guys. And I apologize for the error on the slide. So as you can see, I have put the trend data, what it was in 2024 and where we landed at the end of last year, 2025, for our end of grade assessment that our third, fourth, and fifth grade students took. For content mastery, the previous year we were at a 43.2, we dropped to 38.5. For progress, we were at a 89.6, we went up to 93.3. For closing the gaps, we went from 92.9 to 0. And for readiness, we went from 67.7 to 68.8.
Well,
Mr. Taberkia? When we dig deeper into what those numbers mean, we look at content mastery first. Content mastery basically says our students proficient on grade level standards. Our students meeting the grade level standards. That's what content mastery basically means. And that's in English, language, arts, math, science. Okay. We went down 4.7 points. Our content mastery score was a 38.5. The districts was a 62.4. The states was a 68, which is double what we performed. In English language arts, it was a 35.72 with a negative 7.55. And math, it was a 45.58 with a negative 1.60. In science, it was a 25 and it dropped 6 points. For progress is basically how we are growing children. So that means if a child comes to third grade doing math on a kindergarten level, do we at least grow them to a first grade level in math? Or if a third grader, a fifth grader is on a third grade level, do we at least grow them to a fifth grade level in ELA? So that is what progress is growth. Are we growing students?
I got a question on that.
Yes, ma'am.
So, because, and I don't know if it's just Paisley and Peyton, because sometimes you can teach them something and then it's like the next day I'm coming back reteaching them the same thing. So I look at it like, okay, is it them? Is it the environment or is it the teacher? Now, on my behalf, how I see it, how can I get that third grade student up to third grade math level before the end of the year? Or the current year, I guess you can say. So what exactly would that progress look like, and how would that hinder, I give or take, the students that I guess is on the third grade level or second grade level math?
So are you talking about the content mastery score that we just discussed, or are you talking about, we'll go to the progress score first, Taberkia. So in progress, that's content mastery. Okay, this is progress. We actually went up in progress. So we actually went to 93.3. So we did grow children. We did grow children. So children we didn't have a large percentage of children that were proficient with the grade level standards. However, we did grow students at 93.3%.
No, that's great. I'm with that. But I'm the reason why I'm asking is because even if we're still
growing
pushing.
and not meeting the standards.
Yeah.
And what's so
How are
what
we still not meeting those standards?
so I can't speak on what was happening in the building last year because I was not here, but as I have done research and looked at data and what my opinion is, it's a tier one issue. Last year, from my understanding, the previous administration created the curriculum. There was not a lot of following of the state or the district resources. Resources were created and brought in, and teachers were and teachers, you can you can speak on this because I was not here, were required to utilize specific research strategies that may not have been research based. And so we have decided to go back to the basics. We are utilizing state and district resources. There was not a formalized intervention block that was being monitored. We now have an intervention block that is being monitored. There was not SOPs around how we were giving kids supports through the MTSS process. We have established SOPs as to how we're doing that. Teachers are hungry. They want to learn more. They're eager. I really feel like we have the right staff in place to move the data. We have just had to do some things differently in reference to how we are delivering instruction and what that delivery looks like on a tier one, for tier one. So one thing that I will say about the staff that we have at Perkerson, they are extremely reflective. They are extremely eager. I feel as though we have the right people in place to make it happen. Unfortunately, they just did not have the autonomy last year to do what they knew was best practices for all students. And so we have made a determination that we're utilizing data to make informed decisions. We don't do anything that is not wrapped around the CSIP and the data that we look at data often. Or we're trying to become a data-driven school and make decisions based on data. But we have looked at our tier one instructional practices as well as how we're utilizing data to inform our instruction, but not only to assess our instruction, but to inform our instruction. So hopefully with the things, the wonderful things that we have put in place, we will see some different results at the end of the school year.
Yeah, that was something he didn't do. Like, that's why I either I'm repeating you, or I keep still try to ask questions to get better understanding, because
No, I'm
this
glad.
is something we did not go over last year.
Yeah, so I think it's important that we're also transparent. Um, the school has been on the ATSI list for 3 years and the staff didn't even know until last year. So if you don't know that there's an issue, you don't know that you need to correct one. And so making sure that we're transparent, and having courageous conversations about what next steps are when we need to make adjustments, inspecting what we expect, giving teachers an opportunity to actually plan. When I think about special education, making sure that the special education teachers have opportunities to actually sit in collaborative planning and look at those SDI strategies to see how they can best meet the needs of the children. Because as you can see, as we go further in the data, for our closing the gaps, we really struggle with that.
Closing the gap is the one that went down to 0.
That's right. And that's what we're getting ready to look at now. So with closing the gaps, the students have to meet a 3% target growth. And for some students, you can even aim for a 6% target growth. And they look at subgroups when determining if they have made that growth. That's closing the gaps, making sure that we are looking at it's sort of like if you all remember No Child Left Behind under the Bush administration, where they looked at subgroups to see if they were meeting the standards or showing growth at a certain rate. That's what closing the gaps is. So if you go to the next slide, Mr. Taberkia, we are at a 0 with closing the gaps. The district was at 100% closing the gaps. The state was at 75. Let's go to the next one and look at the flags as to how we got a 0. So when we look at the legend, if students, and we're going to start from the bottom and go up. If student groups did not make progress and did not meet improvement target, then we received a red flag. As you can see, no subgroup, English language arts, math, science, all students, Black students, economically disadvantaged, and students with disability, none of them made that 3% growth target.
So with
So
that
that's what.
I'm kind of just going back to the No Child Left Behind. To me, it was a good program, but it wasn't, because I felt like people just kept pushing children through, which
It wasn't
is
funded properly.
that part as well. So pretty much we're trying to close the gap of pushing kids through, or
No, we're trying to make sure, so closing the gaps more so is our children growing at a certain percentage. So the percentage that the state would like to see kids grow is 3%. If students grow beyond that 3% and they make that 6% target, then they will get the green flag with the star. Students who met the improvement target, that 3%, they get a green star. And then students who made progress but did not meet that 3% target, they get a yellow star. Prior to this year, I want to say in the 2023, I have to look at it again, that we had some closing the gaps. We had some green stars, flags. Unfortunately, last year, I don't know what happened, and maybe the teachers can speak more on what happened with closing the gaps. None of our subgroups were able to make that 3% target. So therefore, we did not earn any flags, meaning we got a 0 in closing the gaps for that population of students.
well, I know, I'm just speaking on behalf of me. My children teacher was there, seemed like every other week she was gone. So I don't know.
So that's where we are with closing the gaps. That's why if you notice when I introduced the CSIP to you guys, there was a special emphasis on special ed, because that is the subgroup that has us on the ATS. We are on ATSI list for not meeting the needs of our special education students. We can move on to readiness. Readiness measures whether students are participating in activities such as beyond the core, and if they are reading at grade level. It also looks at, and how we determine if they're reading at grade level is through that Lexile piece, those Lexile bands, that each grade level has a Lexile band, and the students have to perform within that Lexile band, as well as attendance. Attendance plays a huge part in readiness. Right now, we have the highest attendance rate in the Carver and the Thorough cluster. Our attendance supersedes those two clusters. I think we're at 82.1%, which is still low to me. But I believe last year around this time we were at 70, maybe 69, 70%. I have to look at that data again. So I think we're in a good place when it comes to attendance, but readiness is based on beyond the core, reading within the Lexile band, as well as attendance. You can go to the next one, Mr. Taberkia. How did we perform? We actually went up based on the attendance, and beyond the core, we went up in. However, And you can, and this triangulates or mirrors the ELA data. We went down with students being able to read at or above grade level. If you look at the percentages, we only had 10.88% of our kids reading above grade level. We had 56, over half of our kids reading below grade level. And we had roughly over 30% of our kids reading on grade level and slightly above. Okay. And so that's all I have for my principal's reports.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Blackwell. So now we'll hear about additional information items. I'll go ahead and bring us in with the school updates. The chickens are here and require a vacation home in December. Just to go ahead and take care of those. If you're interested, just let us know. And we want to shout out Mr. Taylor, who received a $500 STEM grant. Coming up, we also have the Parent Climate Survey. We've got the Mother-Son Winter Wonderland Dance, map testing, and our winter celebrations coming. We've got a 5th grade parent meeting coming, an attendance challenge for December, along with our holiday program. The next information item we're going to go on to is on the cluster advisory team report. So I will pass that over to our representative, Satu, just to go over these points with us.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that, but okay. So we have the charter system renewal, and the 2027 budget preparation and attendance.
Move on to, give me 1 second. Okay. I'm sorry. Have you guys had that meeting yet, Satu? Just want to make sure that we're not jumping the gun possibly there.
Yes, we recently had the client advisory meeting. We just it was a very quick meeting. We only talked about the focus, our key focus areas for the cluster, which was attendance. That was there was a big push around attendance and
Gotcha.
doing and attendance. What's the word that I'm looking for? Like just incentives to help increase attendance across the board, across the cluster. All of the schools are having some issues with that.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for the update. I'm gonna move on to our next information item, the comprehensive long-range facilities planning. Yesterday, they had my hearing on December 3rd. Just to go ahead and confirm, they did send out information saying that they had approved the plan, which does have us combining with Finch in the Sylvan Middle School building, beginning, I believe, in the 2028 school year. Ms. Drew, if you want to double check on that, but I believe that's when that's actually going to go through.
I think that's correct.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for confirming
From what I
that.
read.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, I was just saying,
Ms.
from
Drew.
what I read, the plan is that Perkerson will be the same for the 2026-2027 school year and the 2027-2028 school year. And then in the fall of 2028, it is anticipated that we will move to the Sylvan Middle School location with Finch.
Put this in the Washington cluster, correct, Ms. Drew?
Yes.
That is also correct, yes.
But let me say this also, guys, with that being said, we have got to make some very tough decisions next year because we will not be getting that small school supplement. And the small school supplement is what keeps a lot of our positions afloat because a lot of positions we do not earn. We are supplemented those positions through that small school supplement. So we are going to have to make some courageous decisions as a team once that budget comes because they even have us, I want to say, projected at 286, 289, which is almost 50 children below where we are today. So I don't know how they came up with the projections. I intend to dispute them. However, I just want to put that on everybody's heart and mind to start thinking about what that could look like for us, and know that may be happening.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Ms. Blackwell. So, Will, is it? I don't know how you can, if you can give me this information. What is roughly like? How much is the grant?
So it's gonna be basically based on budget. So let me give you an example. We don't earn a full-time ELT, but
Okay.
we need one because we're ATSI school.
Right. Right.
So then we would have to figure out if we're going to keep a full-time ELT, then what are we not going to have? We don't earn a full-time assistant principal. We have a part-time. We earn a 0.5 assistant principal. The state supplements the other 0.5. So then what does that look like? We don't earn a full-time, a lot of the full-time, a full-time Spanish teacher. So really she's 0.5. So then what is that? So it's just we have to really look at what it's going to look like with us not getting that small school supplement.
Okay. That
Just
makes
for
sense.
clarity, can you tell us which positions Perkerson does not qualify for a full-time teacher?
I can't right now because I don't have that information in front of me. But when they and I really don't know all of the positions. Those are just the ones that I know off the top of my head, Miss Drew. But as soon as I did have one meeting today with Human Resources to talk about some of that work, but they have not. I won't know the answer to that until I get the budget, if that makes sense. The budget will tell me what I earn and what I do not earn based on us not getting that small school supplement. So at the risk of being honest, I really don't know fully what that will look like, but I'm beginning to wrap my head around what it looked like for last year, how he moved things around. And I know he moved things around to keep a full-time Spanish teacher. I know he moved things around to have a full-time ELT. I know the district supplemented the AP, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen next year. I don't honestly know until I get the budget, if that makes sense. And the budget will tell me also the positions that I have earned, and how much time I've earned them at the school, if that makes sense.
I think so.
So I won't know until January, to be honest.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Blackwell. Moving on to announcements. Does anyone have any announcements that they would like to share? I know we have our ongoing uniform committee meeting. If you guys have any news that you want to bring to the team with the committee closing out soon here in December.
So I don't have any particular announcements, but I do want to try to organize something where I guess our next PTA meeting, if we're having one, I can't remember if we schedule one, but if we do, can we probably take a survey on what exactly we need to be doing with the uniforms? Are they in? Are they out? Are they sometimes? Are they every day? Because honestly, Monday through Thursday uniforms and Friday dress down day, or we can say Monday through Friday uniforms.
So I think that we should keep it Monday through Thursday and let the Friday kind of be the day that the kids can wear it, which is kind of so. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the current um, the current dress code is just hasn't been formalized, and that's why we have to go through this process to actually formalize it, right?
Yes, right now we had to take everything about uniform requirements off of our school page or we can't even really legally enforce it because we as a GO team, we have not voted and said that's what we want to do. So right now, we can either, I guess that's, Ms. Muhammad, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking you're asking that so that you can formulate what that will look like moving forward. Is that correct?
What it would look like if we did a survey at the PTA meeting, because from how it sounds to me, and I don't know if I'm speaking for Satu, but I'm gonna ask on behalf. Are we taking we're collecting data, correct?
Well, we have to, and again, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that we're supposed to present a plan and then have the people vote on it.
Right. So that's why I was saying I'm throwing out the idea of the next PTA meeting, let's do a survey so we can collect data. So that way we let our people explain it, because at this point, I don't want to say it will be kind of biased, but to me personally, I'm cool with the school uniform. If it's a process of what we're going through of formulating it, let's get the people understanding, or let's gather their thoughts as well and say, I didn't really think about that. Because is it cheaper? To me, it's cheaper. You can look like every other kid every day, and then Friday y'all can go for what you know. But that's me and Satu opinion. But this mama over here can't afford no play clothes or no cute little outfits for Friday. So her child come to school Monday through Friday with uniforms. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, I see what you're saying. So you're saying as
So
opposed to doing
yeah, let's gather
Monday
the
through
data,
Friday.
because yes, me and you can think the same, but everybody don't think like us, correct? So what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, it's not
Go
an
ahead.
announcement. It is an understanding, but it's also saying going forward, our next PTA meeting, let's start a survey where we had, because to me, PTA meetings is where I see the most people. Now, granted, we can get out here in the school line and ask as well, but some of those same people also attend the PTA meetings. So let's gather it while everybody is in a gathering.
Thank you, Ms. Muhammad. And I do want to highlight that that is a part of the committee's work. Just to review here the exact points, like you're saying, we do develop a stakeholder engagement plan to receive feedback on implementing a uniform and its components. So that's that survey you're talking about. Just note, it must include a 20-day public comment period on any proposed uniform you guys come up with. Another duty is to recommend the optional school uniform components and establish the voting timeline and process if necessary. We're also going to determine the length of time the uniform will be in use for before reconsideration, and then develop a communication plan to inform the school community of the school uniform if it's adopted. Just want to keep in mind that the committee will be closing out on December 18th. And then I did previously email you and saw to those points in a previous email, just so you guys have that on your records.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Any other announcements just before I close this out here?
No.
Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to adjournment. One moment here. Okay. We have reached the end of the agenda. Is there any additional business at this time? So we didn't have anything we were gonna announce additionally. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I have one quick question about I'm sorry. Um Ms. Blackwell, I see that we have the mother son stuff. When we gonna get some stuff for the dads?
In February, we'll have the father-daughter dance, and we're gonna ask that, we're also gonna do something where we have, donuts for dads and muffins for moms. So we have something planned all year long. We just thought that it would be cuter for the fathers and the daughters for Valentine's for February. We're gonna ask the dads to volunteer because we have several female girls who don't have dads. So we're going to actually even ask some of the dads and some of the moms for boys or for the mother-son dance. We're asking moms to volunteer for our kids that don't have moms and dads to volunteer for our girls that don't have dads in February. And then we have a dads and donuts and mom for muffins coming up. But if you have some other ideas also, we welcome them, Satu. Don't feel slighted. I'm sorry.
I'm feeling left out.
Don't feel left out. We got you coming, I promise.
All right, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
A motion to adjourn.
A second.
I second that we adjourn the meeting.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. It has been moved and